Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining me today. So, unfortunately, I'm getting started today with a little bit of technical difficulties. So, if you are trying to watch on Facebook, that may not be working, and you may need to jump over to YouTube or LinkedIn. I do not know what is the problem with Facebook today. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Hello, welcome. My name is Natalie, and I am co founder of an accessibility testing tool called Aardvark. Every other Wednesday afternoon in my time zone, I do a live stream, and we cover a variety of different accessibility topics. We have done everything from how to do testing, how to do remediation, how to build accessible things from scratch. We've looked at trying to build accessible things with AI. So, lots of different stuff that we've tried out. Today we're trying AI again. So you see I've got my cloud code loaded up here. We'll go through what we're going through today in just a minute. But thank you for joining me today. All right. It's very warm here in Los Angeles today. It is over 90 degrees. My apartment does not have air conditioning, so I'm very warm. My hair is in ponytail. We'll be fine. All right. So what we're doing today is we're going to hand an AI agent a broken website, a list of accessibility issues, context for how to fix those accessibility issues, and we'll see how far it gets. No slides, nothing really prepared in advance aside from making sure everything was set up. So we'll see how it goes. It's all live to the internet. What could possibly go wrong? All right. So let's do a quick recap on kind of how an accessibility audit, accessibility remediation generally works. So we have two general ways that we find issues on websites. One is with an automated scanner, and there are a ton of those that are available for free. And there are also paid options as well. Those just scan over the website, mostly using JavaScript, and look for potential issues and regular issues. And then we have manual testing, where a human goes through the website, does testing, discovers accessibility issues, and records those. Okay, so that's basically an accessibility audit, is those two things combined together. So automated testing plus manual testing. Hello, David. Thank you for joining. It's nice to see you here. I'm glad you find this streams helpful. So what we get at the end of an audit is basically a big list of issues that need to be fixed. Now, the problem with that is that list generally gets handed to a development team or a single developer, a team of one, I guess, who, number one, already has a billion other things to do, right? And number two, in all likelihood, never got any kind of training in accessibility. It's just not included in most web developers' training. I actually had a conversation last week with somebody who said to me, I have a master's degree in software development, and nobody ever once mentioned accessibility to me in my entire formal education career, which that is truly frustrating and truly mind-blowing that they made it through. A master's is 5 or 6 years of formal education on a single topic, and nobody ever thought to bring it up. So you have people who probably are lacking knowledge through no fault of their own, right? Because it was never brought up to them, was never told to them as something that would be part of the job. And now they're expected to be able to fix those things. If you were here earlier and they're still online, you can look them up. We've done some earlier AI coding streams. One where I took a inaccessible website and tried to have different models remediate it, and it didn't go super well. We did another one where I tried to build things from scratch. It was very hit or miss. It really depended on the model. It depended on what prompts you gave it, etc. So what are we doing today? So I have a whole broken website. I have a full accessibility audit that was completed on it. And so I've got a list of issues, both automatic and manual issues that were found. And what we're going to do is we're going to give that to Claude Code, and we're going to see how it does. Now, the difference between what we're doing today and what we've done previously is that today we are using the Aardvark MCP server to hand Claude context and instructions on how to fix these accessibility issues. And we're going to see how it does. The Aardvark MCP server is currently in private beta. If you are interested in signing up to give that a try, a20y.com/MCP. You'll find a little landing page and a sign up form where you can sign up for the MCP server. And I'll say that again and even show the page a little bit later in the stream multiple times. So if it's something you're wanting to give a try, by all means. So what is an MCP server if you haven't heard of it before? I think technically MCP is like Model Context Protocol or something like that. Not very helpful for understanding exactly what that means. So it's basically just a way to give an AI model access to some specific abilities through a tool. So here, through the Aardvark MCP server, we're going to allow the AI to pull in the recorded issues that are recorded in Aardvark, the automated scan results, all of the issues logged for manual testing, and the fix guidance for all of those issues that we include as part of our platform. So we'll see if that helps Claude do a better fix. Fingers crossed. Now, of course, we're never going to just accept an AI fix as is, right? I wouldn't accept a human developer's fix as is. If I gave a human developer an accessibility issue to fix and said, please go fix this, and then they came back to me and said it was done, I'm not trusting them. I'm going to go open up the web page in a browser with a screen reader or with a keyboard, like whatever, depending on what the issue was. And I'm going to check and make sure it was fixed. I'm going to do the same thing with Claude, right? I'm not going to trust Claude to make these fixes without being checked. They need to be checked afterward. Hello, Jacob. Thank you for joining us today. It's nice to see you here. All right. So let's kind of dig into what the setup is today. So let me kind of walk you through what we've got. So first up, I have this website, discoversaturn.site. It is live on the web if you want to go take a look at it. It is, I will warn you, absolutely hideous from an accessibility point of view, which you'll see in just a second. That is on purpose, right? I wanted something with lots and lots of different kinds of accessibility issues spread all through the site so that we have something to fix. So discoversaturn.site. And then what I have over here is, let's go back over here to the home page, or to the site page rather. I have an Aardvark workspace where I have the Discover Saturn site and I have the results of the audit. So this has both the automated issues and issues that were found and recorded manually. So we've got the whole list of them. And if we scroll down, we can see that we've got 27 active issues on the site. Now, keep in mind, there are multiple instances of most of those. For example, contrast, we see there are 52 instances of insufficient contrast. 7 critical, 7 very high, 8 high, and 5 moderate. And I did run a manual scan yesterday on this site. So the automated issues are all up to date. And we also have all of the manual issues that got recorded in here. So that's what we have to start from. Let me give you a quick little tour of our discoversaturn.site. So it is a pretend website that is selling upscale real estate, I guess, on the rings and moons of Saturn. So if you have multi-millions of dollars, you could come and you can look at the homes that we have, the lovely AI generated homes that we have for sale on the B ring, the A ring, Titan, etc. So just a little fun that we have here for you, including Ring Tram, which will take you to your home, which is very cute. It's just a little tram system traveling over the rings of Saturn. And we've got multiple pages. We can browse around and see what we've got, search results. And it is just a static HTML page. And because it's not a real site, we're going to be cowboys and cowgirls today. And we're just going to do all of our work right on main branch and push it straight to production. Now, obviously, you wouldn't want to do that with a real website. With a real website, hopefully you would have a development site or a staging site set up that you would be pushing your changes to so you could test them, or even a local site, and then move that on to a dev or a staging site where you could then run your aardvark scan against. But because this is a fake website and nobody really cares if I happen to completely delete it or take it down, we're just going to go straight to production today. All right. And then here is that page, aardvarkaccessibility.com, which you can also type into your browser as a20y.com/MCP if you want to sign up for the private beta of the MCP server. All right. So that's a little tour of where we are today. Let's take a quick look at the issues list that we have here in Aardvark. So we have 15 instances of custom components that don't have a tabbable element, so can't be reached with a keyboard. We have images that don't have accessible names, form controls without labels. We have required fields being not identified or marked up correctly, inadequate alt text, keyboard traps, interactive elements that are skipped in the keyboard order, contrast ratio, et cetera, et cetera. So, and if it says detected in scan, that's an automated issue that was detected in an automated scan. Otherwise, our pretend employee, Alex Aardvark, reported those in manual testing. So I'll give you a hint. I'm Alex Aardvark. So I'm the one who came in here and did these tests and recorded these issues yesterday. So we have all of these issues in here, and let's kind of dig into the MCP server and how we can use it and how we could use it to try to remediate some of these accessibility issues. All right, so first up, we can ask Claude, like, what are the highest priority issues? Well, we should probably say accessibility issues recorded in the Aardvark workspace for the Discover Saturn site. And we'll see what that comes back with. So it says, I'll query the Aardvark workspace data. So you do have to have an Aardvark account to be able to use the MCP server. And yes, Jacob, I too would love to be able to buy a condo on Saturn's rings. That would be a pretty awesome place to live. The prices on the website are pretty, like $50 million, which is outside of my price range. And also, they're just pretend. That's okay. We can pretend. We can pretend that we could live on Saturn. All right. So, okay, it's found these. So top priority 5, critical. Oh gosh, we have a lot of critical issues. All right, so here we go. And Claude's going to make some recommendations here. All right, let's read through what we got back. So here are the highest priority accessibility issues recorded in the Nose First accessibility workspace for Discover Saturn. So we've got 9 pages, 27 open issues, 151 instances. And it's only 9 pages, and we have all those issues. So here's where we are. So top priority issues, text contrast, focus indicator, no tabbable element. Yes, these are very broken for keyboard on this site. Images missing accessible names, form controls, missing labels. Yes, so all the issues that we just saw And we can match them up. So issue number 4, if I come back over here and find issue 4, there it is. It'll be the same issue. So you can match them up kind of between what you're seeing in the UI. All right. So let's go ahead and maybe do 52 instances of text contrast. All right. Maybe that's what we should tackle first. Let's see how we do there. Let's see. Let's ask it like how many text contrast issues are there on the homepage? Let's see if we just look at the homepage. I don't want to try to fix 52 instances all at once. So let's see what we get here. And you can filter your issues just by a single page and get an idea of how many are there. You can filter the instances by page. And of course, some of those might be in the header or footer that would end up being on every page of the site, but all right. And Claude is going to cross-check at the page level view to be sure the count is accurate. So we have 14 text contrast issues on the home page, all part of issue number 4. 12 are unique to the home page, and 2 are shared Chrome that also render on the home page. So 2 that are in the header, 1 in the header, 1 in the footer, basically. Okay. So let's take a look, and let's see. Let's try to fix the first one. Let's try to fix the contrast issue in the header. And of course, Claude is always going to take a little bit of time here to come back and before it gives us an answer. Sorry, there was somebody unexpectedly knocking at my front door. I probably just have an Amazon package or something. Just distracting me for a second. Okay. So Claude says there's a standing note in my project memory worth checking against this request. I don't know what that is offhand, so I'll be interested to see what it comes back with. And I forget exactly. Oh, I should probably be on ultra code mode here. All right, so yes, because I was building out this site and making it purposefully inaccessible. So now it's like, what? You want me to fix accessibility issues now? Like, yes, Claude, please. I would like to fix the issue. But today is the day as the on-air AI remediation demo. So it's going to go ahead and fix it for you. That's funny. It's exposing me, exposing all of my back-end machinations to the world. All right. So it's going to go ahead and try to fix it. Let's see if we can contrast. What issue was this again? Let me scroll up here. Oh, issue number 4. All right, let's go look at issue number 4. And let's see what instance of this is in the header. So that one's not header. Oh, in the main nav. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Sorry. They're knocking again at the door. I'm afraid I'm going to have to step away and see what they want. Okay, hold on. My goodness. This is crazy. All right. Okay, sorry. I am back now. It was a maintenance person wanting to do work on my fireplace. I do not need a fireplace on a day that's 92 degrees. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Here we are. We're back. Let's see. So we have, we have some definite issues with color contrast in the header here, because we're putting text over an image, and we have a very light area of the image where we have the planet Saturn, and we have a couple of the navigation items that are over that area of the image. That's going to be a tough one to fix. So let's see what Claude can make of it. All right, still working on it. So let's see what I missed here while I was gone. All right, so there's where it figured out I'm in the live stream and it's time to fix things. So the header nav links, I'll use cream text, and the header is absolutely positioned over the hero photo with only a weak dark veil. Over the lighter parts of that photo, the contrast drops below 4.5 to 1, which is exactly what Aardvark flagged. So instance 27, the about link, and instance 11, the sign in link. All right, I would say probably, well, I guess it depends on what your window size is, but I would say that compare link and even the neighborhoods link is over it at this current window size. All right. Note these header links aren't among the tagged seeded issues. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So fix per Aardvark's 1.4.3 guidance. So that is the guidance that's built into Aardvark that we're pushing down to the MCP servers so that the AI is not just left to its own devices to figure out what the fixes for accessibility issues are. The recommendation to fix it is to add a consistent dark backing behind it rather than chase a text color that works over every pixel. I'll give the header its own top-down dark scrim, a common hero header pattern that keeps the floating look while guaranteeing contrast for all header text at once. All right. And then it's going to render out the local. It's going to test it itself. It's going to render out the local version of the page and going to check it itself, which that's actually pretty nice. So I use this plugin called Agent Browser that lets it spin up a headless Chrome in the background and take screenshots and things like that and check its own work. So it's saying that it's all fixed. Of course, we're going to go check it ourselves. All right, I have a question from Jacob. Was the contrast issue over the image a manual test result, or do you have some way to automate a check like that? That is a good question, Jacob. So as you know, automated scanners love to flag anytime you put text over an image, a gradient, use absolute positioning, fixed positioning, use any kind of opacity, right? That will get flagged in the automated scanner as I can't check this. It needs a manual check. And depending on the design of a website, sometimes that results in hundreds or even thousands of instances of contrast that need manual checks. So we actually, about a year ago now, I think, we built a very specific AI model just for that into Aardvark because our customers were being driven mad by those instances. We had somebody who, for some reason, all the text on his site had opacity of 0.9, so it literally flagged every bit of text on the site. And so we built this AI model that basically goes in, takes a screenshot, identifies the text, samples the background at 3 points around each letter, and determines if there is sufficient contrast around each letter. And as long as the AI is at least 80% confident, it will go ahead and just close that issue. So it does not require manual review. If it is less than 80% confident, then it still opens it as an actual issue. So this was an automated issue that for Aardvark. That would be either, for most scanners, that would be either an issue that was found manually, or it would be an issue that was flagged by the scanner as needing a check. All right, let me go ahead and, okay, open Reveal in Finder. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and look at the local file here. since we can do that, whoops, drag that into the browser. And it did. It added a very nice kind of shadow along the top. And I'm just going to open up AI or color contrast tool. There it is. And I'm just going to double check that around the very light parts of the image and make sure. So my background color, let's try around like neighborhood here. Let's check that. And then foreground color. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Skip. Foreground color. All right, let's grab the lightest shade of that. Yeah, that is giving me an 11:4. All right. So I think that fix actually did work pretty nicely. And if I resize, let's check that now that it's gotten down onto that image. Let's just double check that there. Oh, did I close my color contrast checker? Whoops. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. Color contrast. There we go. All right, let's try again. Foreground. We'll pick that moon's color, background. Let's get right under the S there. Yeah, that's 8.7 to 1. So yeah, I would say that is a successful fix. So that looks much nicer. So let's compare to the live site just to have a, oops, that's the live site. So here we have, you can see the end of neighborhoods, compare, and about are kind of over that lighter color of Saturn. And on the local copy, it added this kind of shadow along the top that gives us, still gives us that lovely feel of that expansive view of Saturn with all the condos around it, and has sufficient contrast for all of the text. So yeah, great work. Let's try a different type of issue. So let me go back up to where it gave us that list. Let's try the focus indicator because I verified all of the issues. So the focus indicator is one that gets flagged by the scanner as needing manual review, and I did check all of those yesterday. So let's try to take a look at the focus indicator. And I know there's focus indicator problems all over this website. It is a true nightmare to try to use with a keyboard. Yeah, you can see I'm tabbing through it now. You can't even tell until I landed in the search box and you can see the blinking cursor. And then I landed in this search box and you can see the blinking cursor. But yeah, you cannot see anything highlighted here. So we've got lots of issues to solve. So I'm going to say let's try to solve the, let's stick with the nav. And let's see if we can solve the hidden focus indicator on the main nav links. So let me go ahead and ask it to fix that. Usually, let's see if we go, oops, back to our list of issues in Aardvark. So focus indicator, sorry for all the scrolling, is issue number 2. And I just want to see like, which one might be the main nav? Here we go. So instance 6 of issue number 2 is highlighting one of the areas in the nav. So let's go ahead and try that. Let's say instance 6. Can we take a look at instance 6 of issue 2 and see if we can add a visible focus indicator for the main nav links. Okay, I don't usually type in AI. I usually talk to it, so it's a little bit funny right now. All right, so we'll see if it's able to fix that one. I actually really like the solution it came up with for the main nav, and from a design perspective, it's barely noticeable, but it makes a huge difference in the contrast that's available on that text. So that's pretty nice. I'm pretty impressed with that, actually. All right, so it'll take a few minutes to crunch away at this and see if we can get some visible focus on those nav items. And then maybe after I get these 2 fixes, I can push them. I can push these live. Let's double check this. So yeah, so this is an automated issue, and I think the other one we fixed was also an automated issue. Contrast ratio, yeah. So those are both automated issues. So they should be able to be verified in a scan afterwards. So if I push it back up to the production site, because Aardvark can't scan a local site, unless you can use a tool, right, to make a local site available at an IP address or whatever. But I could push those back up and we could rerun the scan and verify that those issues get closed. So in Aardvark, right, we have the 2 different types of issues: automated issues that were found in a scan and manual issues. And how those get handled in remediation is we do have different roles in a workspace. So we have an accessibility tester role, we have a developer role, and then we've got other roles as well, project manager, etc. The developer role cannot close out accessibility issues. So what will happen if a developer goes in and marks an automated accessibility issue as fixed? Basically, the next time a scan runs, the scanner will verify that fix and will either go ahead and close out that issue, or it will reopen it and notify the developer that they still have work to do. If it's an issue that was filed manually, the developer can mark it as fixed, and then it goes back to the accessibility tester who found the issue to begin with, and they are the ones who can go in and verify the fix and then close out the issue. So that way, all issues are always verified before they get closed out. So you can feel pretty confident that if something's been closed out, it's actually been fixed because it's been tested, again, either by the scanner, or for manual issues, it's been tested again by an accessibility tester who has confirmed that the issue has been fixed. All right, so Claude is still taking a look at this and verify the fix before applying it. Aardvark instance 6 detail all of issues 2's instances in the actual nav plus focus CSS in the file. So of course the CSS file very purposely removes focus, the outline style, from focus for almost everything on the website. So it should be a reasonably easy fix to just get that restored. But we'll see. We'll see what kind of fix Claude comes up with. And I don't know, flipping to ultra mode or ultra code mode for such a simple thing may have been a mistake. It might make it take a really long time and eat up a whole bunch of our live stream, but that's okay. All right, so here's what it found. Instance 6 of issue number 2 is a header nav, the active about link in the main nav. So the user's framing is right. It's a main nav link. The real cause is at index HTML lines 26 and 27, a site-wide kill switch on the focus style. Yes. So we have star focus, visible, outline none, important CSS on this website, which, you know, I see that and I'm like, oh, that's terrible. But I see sites using things like that in real life, like real websites out in the web, just with focus visible none, and outline none rather, and no replacement style for it. There's just like a lack of knowledge that that's something that there's a group of people who really depend on that, and somebody just thinks, oh, it doesn't fit the design aesthetic, and they don't know any better. So now I do have a bookmarklet that I can show you while Claude crunches on that issue for show focus styles. So now when I tab, whoops, where am I? Tab. Nope, it's not doing it. Hold on, was that the right one? Let me look at my bookmarklets again. Focus bookmarklet, that's the one I want. Now we can see focus. Now we can see focus. So we do have a way of kind of overriding that. So that's adding a nice thick kind of golden orange ring around everything on the site. And I can see where focus is now that I have enabled that. So that's pretty nice. So let's take a look at what Claude's doing over here. Oh, we got an API error. Let's see what's happening. So the fix must scope a focus visible ring to the main nav and now specify that important reset. Oh, see, I don't think that's a good fix, Claude. Just adding some competing CSS, right? I think we want to fix a CSS that's there, but let's see. Without removing the global rule, under Ultra Code, I'll run a workflow to inspect every page's header background, design the ring against a judge panel, and adversarially verify the CSS actually overrides the reset. I hope that this API error is not because I am out of tokens. I don't think it is, because I would see a message in here letting me know that. Let me go ahead and turn off Ultra Code, and we'll just go to Max. And let me just go ahead and talk to Claude, because that'll be easier and faster for me. And I'm going to give it some instructions that instead of trying to outrun that CSS, that let's just go ahead and make the change, because it does need to be a site-wide fix. All right, here we go. Rather than try to outrun the existing CSS that removes the focus outline everywhere with an important, why don't we go ahead and make a change to that CSS? I know it will impact the site, or it will have an impact site-wide, but that is a desired result. We do want to fix this issue everywhere that it happens. All right. So let's see what Claude can do with those instructions. So I would say that is a place where I don't like the solution that Claude came up with. It did very nice on the color contrast. I don't like the solution here for like just trying to out specify that CSS. That's not a great one. All right, so while that crunches, let's look over here in our list of issues in Aardvark, and we'll pick, I think I probably have time to fix one more. Let's see what else we want to try to fix. Let's see. Maybe I could try this required fields not identified or marked up correctly. That is a manual issue, was not found in an automated scan. So we could try issue 28. And that is on the property detail page. We have a form on the side. Let's go over to that page here. Property details. So if we just click through any of these, here's our property detail page. And it is the schedule of viewing form that's in the sidebar. So there are required fields here, and they are not marked as required fields either visually or programmatically. Let me go ahead and disable my one password here. It's always getting in the way of these demos. So, I mean, there's a lot of issues with these. Form fields, right? They don't have, they're just using placeholders. I'll give you a hint that the error text, if you try to submit without filling in a required field, the error text isn't associated with the form field. We don't have required fields marked. We can't tell which ones are required. So that's what we're going to try to fix. All right, Claude's still crunching on that other thing. And Jacob says, if you have time, I'd love to see if it can fix the filter buttons at this point on the site. The season's finest orbits, all the rings, the moons. Oh, yeah. Those are on, not the compare page. They're on, oh, yeah, the rings, the moons. On the results page, correct? The season's finest orbits. Is that it? Wait, where are we? Oh, here. On the home page, these filters. Yeah, that's another good one. Yeah, we could do that instead of the form field, I think. See how it does. Let's see what issues are filed there. Let's go to visual mode. All right, let's see. We have issue number 6, instance 15. We have no tabbable element in there. And we have issue number 6, issue 13, no tabbable element. So there are more issues than that. I obviously did not do a very thorough accessibility audit in here because I didn't flag that there's no announcement of what's happening. When those change, for example, you can't tab to them, first of all. And then second of all, even if you clicked them, like there's no announcement to screen readers, for example, like there's nothing going on there. So we could try to fix that. All right, here's Claude finally applying the site-wide fix for my CSS. And we'll have a look at that and see how it goes. So it did need a little nudging from me. And then I have to think, like the mistake it made was it wanted to keep its fix tightly scoped, which is what I said in the prompt. Like I did strictly say, right, computers are kind of dumb. They're going to take us very literally. I did strictly say I wanted to fix the focus problem on the main nav. And it did try to keep its fix scoped to just the main nav without impacting the rest of the site. Yeah, I'm a little torn on that one. I don't know. I give it like a C maybe. So it's not strictly an accessibility problem that it tried to over specify the CSS. Hopefully even a developer without a lot of accessibility knowledge would have caught Claude trying to do that kind of out specify fix. But we'll see. All right. So it went ahead and got rid of that CSS everywhere. And now it's going to open up a browser for us and try to tab through. But I have a local copy already. I can do that right now instead of waiting for it to do that. So let's see. Yes, very nice. So it didn't just kind of get rid of that CSS that was removing the focus. It added like a pretty nice little focus style that's in keeping with the design of the site. So that's pretty nice, actually. And looks like it's got sufficient contrast everywhere. We would have to double check that just to be sure, because there were a couple that looked a little close, right? So that has to have a 3-to-1. And there are a couple places where it does seem a little bit close, but I think we'd double check that and then call that a fix, I think, just to make sure that all the places had sufficient contrast. Okay. And then while I wait for Claude to kind of finish up over here, David has a question. Any insights into Claude session usage for a typical remediation project like this using the MCP? The project you're working through of the current session time, oh gosh, I wouldn't expect this to consume 25 or 50% of my current session time. I should have checked my usage before I came in. I definitely should have done that and seen where I was so we could figure out what it was. But let me look on my phone real quick and see if I can find out what my current usage is, and then we can see what one fix costs us at least. Let's see. Can you not see your usage from the mobile app? Let's see. Oh, yes, I can. Okay. Yeah, so my current session looks like it reset right at the start of this live stream, actually. Almost exactly. So that's handy. I've only used 6% of my current session. So we fixed 2 issues so far, and we're going to dive in and fix a third, and then we'll kind of see where we are. All right. That was just a funny coincidence that it reset 37 minutes ago, and we started the stream 46 minutes ago. So, and I was kind of just talking at the beginning. So I think that's actually pretty accurate that I used about 6% of my current 5-hour session fixing these 2 things, if that helps and gives you an idea. All right, and now we're going to dive into, now what was it again? Oops, sorry, I'm clicking around. I have no idea where I am. Where did I have visual mode open? Oh, let's try it again. Visual mode. All right. So it is issue 6, instance 13. Okay. All right, I'm going to talk to Claude again. Can we take a look at issue 6, the instances that are on the filters on the home page, the ones that read all or the rings or the moons, and see if we can correct the accessibility issue that's there. All right, so we'll let that spin a little bit, and I'll double check my usage after that's done, and we'll get a good idea of how it goes. So in Aardvark, we do have this, like here's a issue 28, and it's the required fields are not identified or marked up correctly. So that was the one we were going to try, and we're doing the filters instead. And you can see that we have this whole write-up here that explains, like, what does it mean, who it impacts, how do I fix it, with a bunch of bullet points of different fixes. And if there's more than one fix, we try to rank them, right? So as an example, for a form field, if a form field doesn't have a label, we're going to say the first preferred fix would be adding a label, like adding an actual label element and labeling it that way. And if we can't do that for whatever reason, then we would want to do an ARIA labeled by as a second choice. And then our third, like last resort, if for some reason, if we can't do those first 2, then we would do an ARIA label. So we try to kind of rank all the fixes that same way. And then we also have example code for a lot of them, not all of them, that show like what passing code and failing code look like. And all of that is what's being passed to Claude as guidance for how to fix these different accessibility issues. So anything that's logged in there as an issue, when Claude queries the MCP server and gets those issues, it gets all of that guidance sent with it, so that you don't have to keep constantly prompting for accessibility, and you know that Claude is getting prompted with the preferred fixes, right? Like best practice fixes, and not just any crazy thing that Claude happens to come up with. So that is my goal for the MCP server, is this can be a partner for a developer who may not have all of that knowledge about accessibility, and a way to feel confident that you're going to get at least a decent, like, first try at fixing an accessibility issue. And of course, you always want to retest it yourself in a browser and ensure that the fix came through as expected and that it does solve all of the problems, and that you can still get to, that If it was a broken keyboard, that it now works with the keyboard. If it was a broken screen reader experience, that's now fixed. You would want to always verify that still. But like I said, I would verify that even if it was a human developer, even if it was a human developer who had a ton of experience in accessibility, right? I would still go back and verify that. So that's not anything different or new. All right, so let's see what Claude is working on. It says I have a clear picture now. The 3 filter chips are div with a roll of button with no tab index and a click-only listener. So they can't be reached by tab and wouldn't respond to enter space even if they could. All right, Aardvark's guidance ranks prefer native HTML first. So that's what I was talking about. So in this case, I'm going to say, like, don't go in there and add a keyboard handler and a tab index to this. Like, let's see if we can make it native HTML first. So we're going to convert the divs to real buttons to fix both things at once. And it says it's also adding ARIA pressed. So a screen reader users know which filter is active. So that's pretty nice. So now it is verifying in a browser. And so that means we could go verify it in a browser ourselves. So let me get that local file. Oh, I've lost myself in all of my browser tabs now. All right, so it looks visually identical to how it looked before. Let me just open up the inspector and we'll take a look. So it is a button, and I do see ARIA pressed true on the first all button, and ARIA pressed false on the rings, and ARIA pressed false on the moons. So let's go ahead and fire up. Let's see, make sure my volume is turned up really high. And let me fire up VoiceOver. I'm on my Mac today, so let's fire up VoiceOver and give it a try.
VoiceOver on Chrome.
And I know if you're a screen reader user, my VoiceOver sounds very slow. I know, sorry. All right, let me navigate through this page and get to those buttons real quick.
Discovers toolbar, Halo Estates, headings menu. Landmarks, form controls menu button, all, selected, toggle button. You are currently in a all, selected, toggle button. You are currently on a toggle button.
Hey, so that's pretty good. It identifies it as a toggle button and tells me that the all is selected. Let's try the other two.
The rings, toggle button. The moons, toggle button. The rings, all, selected, toggle the rings, toggle button. You are currently selected. All, toggle button. You are currently on a top. VoiceOver off.
Okay, so I don't necessarily love the way VoiceOver handles those, but that is, I can confirm, that is how it acts on toggle buttons. So it was able to convert those to semantic HTML buttons, and it was able to add the ARIA pressed attribute to them. And obviously it did JavaScript that updated that when I switched to the rings. It announced that one as pressed. So it did a pretty nice job on that overall. Now I think we still have one other thing missing, is that, of course, when I switch those toggles, the actual content on the page changes, and I'm not getting any announcement that happened. So I think that would be another thing that we would add. Let me go ahead and check my Claude usage and see how much that cost us. Well, I'm at 7%, so that took 1% to do that fix. All right, so we've got 6 minutes left. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a cowgirl, and we're going to go ahead and just commit this and push it to main. The site is just hosted on GitHub Pages, so anything that merges into main goes live within a minute or so. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me ask Claude to do it. Can you commit and push all of the open changes to main, please? And then we'll go ahead and run the Aardvark scan to see if it identifies the fixes that we made and closes those out. I think they all ended up being automated issues that we fixed today. You could fix manual issues the same way, just FYI. I meant to kind of show both, but I ended up doing only automated issues, I think. So we should see a decrease in the number of instances on the site. We didn't close out all instances of any issue, so the issue count will stay the same, but the instances count should decrease. All right, so Claude's thinking about it, getting ready to commit and push this for me. And then we'll give the GitHub pages a minute to clear the cache and update the site. And then I'll try running a new aardvark scan and kind of see how things changed. So while we're waiting for all of that, another nice thing that the MCP server is really helpful for, which it did this on, I didn't actually expect it to do this, but it kind of did it on its own, where I had some kind of issue. It may have been the focus visible, like ensuring that focus was visible on elements. And I had a whole bunch of instances that needed manual review. And Claude was actually able to open up that headless Chrome and tab through the page and confirm which of those it thought were real issues and which weren't. So that was actually really nice. Okay, so that commit is done. So I'm just going to give it another minute or two to update GitHub pages. And it'll be easy to tell when it updates because I will see that shadow in the header. All right. So there's other handy things it can do too. The MCP server can also kick off the scan. So we could rerun the scan from the MCP server. Actually, I should probably do that to demo that happening. You could, of course, also log into your aardvark account and trigger the scan from there. It's only a 9-page site, so a scan is going to happen pretty quickly. So the AI is not going to replace people in the loop. It definitely can help us move things along more quickly, but we still needed a human to go in and test the pages and log those manual issues, right? AI wasn't able to do that at this point. I don't know if, I assume that will get more robust at some point, but I don't think we would ever want to get to a point where we're not doing any testing with people at all, because we are, after all, building the site for people and we care about people's experience on the website. We didn't do anything with alt text today, but that is something else we could give it a try, see how it does at generating some missing alt text. We saw the first fix, it came up with a pretty nice fix. The third fix, it came up with a pretty nice fix. It got a little off track on the second fix, so it does still need some guidance. And of course, you need to manually check every issue that it fixes and make sure that it actually fixes in the browser. All right, and Jacob says, I'm glad it used semantic HTML. You wouldn't have stuck with toggle buttons. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I agree. I think probably switching something like that to toggle buttons is more in scope. We saw that it wanted to really stick with the scope that I gave it. And so I think you could probably give some guidance in those cases to say, well, actually, I think maybe converting this to a different kind of interaction might be a better solution. That's always available as an option, right? But that's just making more of a case that we need a human in the loop. We need a human developer there to say, like, yeah, that's a good fix, or no, that's not a good fix. And we need to verify also that that the fix has actually worked. So let me refresh, and I see the shadow there. So let's go ahead and I'll prompt Claude. Could you trigger a new scan of the site, please? So we'll go ahead and trigger a new scan, and then we'll check and see if our number of instances dropped on that. So every fix it makes, whether it was an automated issue or a manual issue, you should double check in the browser just to make sure that the fix was what you expected and that it's an acceptable fix for it, because it will go off the rails. Even with the guidance that the MCP server is offering, it will go off and do things on its own, hallucinate solutions and things like that. So you do still have to pay attention to it. You do still have to check it, right? So treat it like an intern developer who's, their first week at work, and you're giving it good instructions, but you never know when it's going to just kind of go off and do its own thing for reasons that you'll never understand. All right. And then, so the scan is running. Like I said, since it's just 9 pages, it shouldn't take too long. I'd expect it to be done in a minute or so here. So yeah, I think that's all of my kind of takeaway and then my demo of how to use the MCP server. And like I said, if you want to get involved in the private beta, you can go to this website, a20y.com/MCP. I've got it here. There's a form on that site that you can fill in and indicate that you'd like to give the MCP server a try. And we'll get your workspace converted over so that you can use it. And is the scan done? Kind of expect for it to be done. Let's see. Full scan triggered by MCP 1 minute ago. Yeah, so we see we have the exact same number of issues, which is what I expected. But if we look at instances, oh, they actually went up. Oh no. I hope I didn't introduce more issues onto the site. So it says no new issues found. So it didn't find new issues, but we did have more instances. So I'll have to figure that one out. So that is the opposite of the result that we wanted. I don't think, I'm trying to think, since I did that scan yesterday, did I add more accessibility issues to the site? I may have, and then not run another scan. Oh, okay. Well, that I may have sabotaged my own demo. Oh, goodness. All right. I was hoping we could show this line going down, but we went from 151 total instances to 152. Okay, so it only found one more. But still, we fixed 3 or we fixed 4. All right. I'll have to figure out where it got new instances from. All right. So I'll figure that out. But anyway, I hope that you saw how the MCP server could help if you're trying to remediate a website, help you to prompt less because it is passing that guidance along and letting the MCP server know how to fix things. And that is our time for today. We're 2 minutes over. Thank you for joining me. My name is Natalie. I am founder of Aardvark, an accessibility testing tool. And I do these live streams every other Wednesday afternoon, my time, from 1 to 2 p.m. I'm in Los Angeles, California. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for the nice comments and conversation, David and Jacob. Thank you for being here. So I'll see everybody 2 weeks from today. I don't know what the topic will be. If you have suggestions, I'm happy to hear them. Otherwise, I'll come up with whatever AI-related topic happens to sound like it needs some attention at the time. All right. I'll see you all next time. Thank you so much. Bye.